When it comes to the held item leftovers, there's no Pokemon more synonymous with it than Snorlax, especially in Gen 2. When you combined leftovers with curse strats, it basically made Snorlax an unstoppable force in this generation, at least when it came to competitive. But the question is, how would Snorlax perform if it had to play a full game solo challenge where it couldn't use any other held items except for leftovers? Now on paper, this looks like an incredibly easy one. We start with some of the best base stats in Gen 2, ranking 16th out of 251 Pokemon with a 540 base stat total. We have a massive 160 base HP to go together with 110 base attack and 110 base special defense. Our defense and special attack, both at 65, aren't really much to write home about, but as I've mentioned before, especially with that defense, that's where the curse strats usually come in, and our speed is so abysmally low at 30 that that's basically on par with some of the weakest first stage Pokemon in the entire game. We also have to deal with the fact that we are in the slow level up group, which is going to make this one a little bit more challenging. We won't get quite as many levels as other Pokemon. Now we of course make up for that by having a massive and awesome moveset. Everything from Belly Drum to Body Slam, Rollout. We can learn Dynamic Punch, Headbutt, Curse, obviously Hyper Beam in the later game, but we also get access to things like Blizzard, Thunder, Psychic, Shadow Ball. I mean, name basically a decent TM in the game and we're going to get it. And things like Earthquake will really work nicely in the late game with our high physical attack stat. So the real issue of this one is the fact that if we have to play the game with only leftovers, we're never going to be able to use other held items that might help us in a really big pinch. For example, we couldn't put on a Mint Berry to avoid Morty's Gengar putting us to sleep, or put on a Quick Claw to guarantee that we hit Chuck's Poliwrath first. And that's where the challenge of this one might really come in. So the question we're asking today is, how good is Snorlax really if it has to play a solo challenge with only leftovers? Let's get into it. So as we go into Professor Elm's lab, he's going to introduce us to our Chubby Bear, Pokemon right after my own heart, and one that I think is actually going to be pretty interesting to do this challenge with. Now I'm going to select this Snorlax in the Totodile ball that will put us up against the Chikorita line, just because with the Razor Leaf I think they'll give us the most difficulty. Yes, our special defense is pretty high, but at the same time the high critical hit chance of those moves should at least give us some challenge as we go through the game. So just like that, we get access to Chubby Bear at level 5, and we start the game with only Tackle on our moveset, but we also get some leftovers. I think this is perfectly fine though. We're going to get enough TMs as we go through the game that I didn't feel that this one really merited adding another move, something that I have been doing for most of the rest of these runs, but Snorlax is already such an all-around beast that I just think it's going to crush the entire game. That's my opinion anyway, but let's see if we actually run into some sort of major wall where, for example, we really want that Quick Claw and we just don't have it. Now, of course, I can hear some people in the comments already typing away saying, wait a second, Teo, you were doing all the unique held items in Gen 2, and isn't there one more that you've forgotten already? Like, we did the Stick Farfetch'd, we did the Thick Club Marowak, of course the one is the Metal Powder Ditto. I just think that one's going to take an awfully long time, so I'm doing that initially as an exclusive live stream set for the channel members, so you guys might just have to wait a little while until I actually complete it. I expect that one to take me maybe 10 plus hours to actually get it done. For today though, we have this leftovers Snorlax. Let's see how Chubby Bear does in his first fight against the rival. Of course, the rival's Chikorita does not have a same type attack bonus in Tackle, and a critical hit does about half. He critical hits us after that, and we're just missing our tackles. Clearly, we're just too slow to actually hit, but it's only 3 hits to actually knock that Pokemon out, thanks to that crit. And with that, we're ready to move on in the game. And honestly, I don't expect to have too much issue in the Falkner section, just because we have such massive HP and attack. So I'm going to name my rival Diet, because that's, I think, the worst thing for our Chubby Bear, is to actually have to go on a diet. Nobody's happy about diets. Come on. I'm enough of a Chubby Bear that my wife has always tried to put me on a diet, and so far I've managed to avoid actually having any success at that. But with that done, we're ready to get started in this run properly, where we can see like a Pidgey at level 2 is doing so little damage, we just heal it right back immediately. But we aren't going to be healing that much damage, so I think we're going to see pretty quickly that when we get against stronger opponents, in the early game you'd actually rather have like a berry in some of these tough fights, because you have the guaranteed 10 HP heal rather than getting just a little bit of incremental healing at this point in the game. When the point where we're actually going to really love the leftovers is when we get something like Curse or Defense Curl later on, and it actually helps us to outpace our opponents in terms of healing versus their damage output. But for now, we're stuck with this. Let's get into Falkner's gym and see if we can actually beat Honest Abe on minimum battles without a berry on, just with these leftovers. So Honest Abe attempt number 1, obviously he's going to be faster than us with his Spearow, and Peck did pretty good damage. It did like 8 damage with the first hit, then we heal back 2 HP with the leftovers. So fortunately, we're just dealing enough damage here that we easily get through, in spite of the fact that we didn't get the full 10 HP heal that we would normally get from a berry. And with that, I expect that God Rod isn't actually going to be much of a god here. He's just going to get completely destroyed. So let's make our way straight to Falkner. So Falkner attempt number 1, obviously we have no strategy other than to just tackle repeatedly, and it only took 2 hits to knock out the Pidgey thanks to a crit. We level up and learn Amnesia here, and now Pidgeotto is gonna hit us with Gust and do pretty decent damage, but it's only 6 damage per hit, and we're healing back 2 per turn, so we easily get through on the first attempt. And just like that, with Falkner done, we're ready to move on in the game, but we actually do need a little bit of help here. Normally I would put off learning a TM like Mud Slap, but in this case it's absolutely required because Rival 2 is going to have that Ghastly and normal type moves can't hit it. I did actually do a test run of minimum battles back in the day before I started the channel, and one of my test Pokemon was Snorlax, just because I was interested to see if the best Gen 2 Pokemon could do minimum battles. I won't spoil the end results of that, but what I will say is that my strategy to do no TMs and minimum battles with Snorlax in the early game was actually to intentionally avoid healing to have less PP and tackle, basically by doing all of Bugsy's gym first so that I could get to the rival with less tackle PP and end up struggling down that Ghastly and then struggling down the rest of the team. That seems to be the best actual strategy because the Ghastly can't actually damage Snorlax. So if you normally had like a berry on, you would definitely be able to find a way after beating Bugsy to also be able to struggle down all of Rival 2's team. Here with the leftovers, however, it might not actually work out as well because we don't have that guaranteed 10 HP heal in the middle of the fight. I will still test it just a little bit, but I honestly think that we're going to be better off with the Mud Slap strat here. But first things first, we've got to get into the Slowpoke well, where nothing should be really that hard, though I will comment if anything sticks out here. In general though, our Chubby Bear is just going to tackle things, and when you get tackled by a 300-pounder, it's definitely going to hurt, even if they don't move very quickly. Now here on Jamesy Proton, we don't really have any issue because even when we get poisoned, we're still healing back a little bit of that chip damage, and so between that and Mud Slap, we easily get through, and we're able to get out of the Slowpoke well. Kurt's going to come back saying he feels all better now, and give us a free heal to boot. So now I'm going to just go ahead and get into Bugsy's gym. I think this is the best way to go. Even with Mud Slap, I just think that the rival could be a little bit random, but let's just see how this actually works out. Now it is worth noting that like all of these runs with special or at least kind of signature held items, I am doing these runs on max DVs. I'm going to be back doing 0 DVs runs with every Pokemon after I complete my minimum battles series especially. But for now, we're looking at the best possible scenario for Chubby Bear because I just want to see if he can actually manage to make it through. So it's time for Bugsy attempt number 1. Let's just see how he actually goes. He leads off with the Metapod. I'm going Tackle. He's going String Shot. Not exactly sure why, given that we're already super slow, but it takes 4 hits to knock that one out. That brings out the Kakuna, which goes for Poison Sting, but we are healing back to full HP. The problem is that we missed a couple tackles. I was really worried about getting poisoned there, but we do manage to knock out Kakuna and get to level 13. That now brings out the Scyther, which starts building up Fury Cutter, and I'm pretty sure we're going to need a Fury Cutter miss. This looks like a 5-hit KO with tackle, so unless it misses right here, we're simply dead, and he just goes quick attack when he's got us in the range. So we're going to need at least one Fury Cutter miss somewhere in there if we're actually going to win this one. Obviously, since he doesn't use any special moves, there's no point in using Amnesia here, and Mud Slap can't affect that Scyther, so the only option here is just to spam tackle over and over again and pray for the miss. This time we even get poisoned, which makes this even worse. We now really need for him to miss Fury Cutter before it builds up too much. We get a nice critical hit there, but it just wasn't enough between the poison and the Fury Cutter building up. So as strong as this Pokemon usually is in Gen 2, turns out that it's actually struggling pretty hard here on Bugsy, and poison only exacerbates that. Since this is an itemless solo challenge, no items in battle, we are going to struggle really hard when we get poisoned or some other status here in this fight. So normally you might want to come in here with like a poison cure berry or something like that in order to help this Pokemon out, but here we just really don't have any other options. I guess we could go for some Mud Slaps on Kakuna, but the second that it actually manages to poison us, that's basically the end of that strategy, and now we just have to go all in on tackle and pray. This time we get a Fury Cutter miss turn 1 from the Scyther, which is kind of nice, but then we start missing our tackles and we simply go down to the poison. Now the way that the math works out, we always get through that first Metapod basically on full health, and it will be the same situation on Kakuna assuming we don't get poisoned, which is about a 1 in 5 chance from Poison Sting. Still, we get through with no poison this time and heal up to our maximum 69 HP, very nice. And we just now need Scyther to actually cooperate by missing that Fury Cutter. Unfortunately, we once again cannot get that level of luck. Next attempt, we're back to Scyther again on full health, and that Fury Cutter has that 5% chance to miss. That's what we're banking on here. Or to get a critical hit should also get us the win. Unfortunately, yet again, we just can't get that level of luck. So it's becoming pretty obvious that this is at least a very random fight with our Chubby Bear. We might need to come back at a slightly higher level, for example, after beating rival number 2 to actually get this one to go, because we just need to deal a little bit more damage and have a little more HP. So I'm going to give up on the Bugsy fight once, and let's just go and see if we can actually beat rival number 2 instead. With the Mud Slap, I expect this to work, but let's find out. So as mentioned, Ghastly cannot actually damage us. Its only damage dealing move is Lick. So I'm going to take this opportunity to set up Amnesia all the way, basically with the goal of taking less damage from the Razor Leaf later on. And then we're going Mud Slap on the Ghastly. It is using Spite here on us, but we have enough Mud Slaps to actually get through that Pokemon. Now we just go tackle the rest of the way. Against this Zubat, it causes us to get confused and we hit ourselves in confusion. But once we hit tackle, it looks like it's going to be a 3 or 4 hit KO given the ranges here. We get the 3 hit KO as we get to level 13 and Bayleaf comes out, and now we're just hoping to deal enough damage. Obviously, Razor Leaf is going to do less thanks to the Amnesia unless it gets a critical hit, which will just ignore all of that setup. Now we're getting Growled and Reflect is up and all kinds of things, but if we don't get a bunch of critical hit Razor Leafs, we will manage to get through. So just like that, we beat the rival on the first attempt. And with that done, we're ready to get back to Bugsy now. Let's see if we can beat him now that we leveled up in that fight, and we're going to be at least 1 level higher when we get to the Scyther. So here we still obviously take down Metapod nice and easy, but we get to level 14 now, and with that, it looks like we're getting a better range on the Kakuna, though we do get poisoned here. Fury Cutter's going to start to build up, but we just have to hope that we're dealing a little bit more damage. With poison on, this might still be impossible. We might need to get a run where we have no poison, but let's just see. This time we get through with no poison. We're on full health going to Scyther, and this one still looks like it's going to be a 5-hit KO to knock this Pokemon out, and we get knocked out by a critical hit from Fury Cutter. Again, I think that we still just need a single miss from that move if we're going to get through, or alternatively, the critical hit can also get the job done. This time time we do get the crit, but we had the poison on, so it just wasn't enough to actually allow us to get through. So we need a lot of things to go right here in order to continue through this on minimum battles. This time he quick attacked turn 1, but then we missed our tackle. He goes back to quick attack here after missing though, so we finally managed to get through. It took a ton of attempts there, but we do get to level 15 and learn defense curl now, and we at least have a strategy now moving forward in this challenge. Now honestly, I think rollout's gonna come in pretty quick here, and we're gonna upgrade our tackle to headbutt just because I think we need a little bit more damage output as well. But who knows, maybe that's all we actually need for this next little while. Now in this one, I'm just gonna learn headbutt immediately, as I mentioned, just because it's a relearnable TM anyway, so it's not necessarily ever going to be a mistake to learn it earlier in the run. And while we're not really going to be relying much on flinch strats here, that could just be enough to allow us to get through an otherwise really tough fight thanks to our same type attack bonus. And now, while my usual strategy here might be to go quick claw with this Pokemon against Whitney, in this case I think the better play is just going to be to go ahead and get access to rollout and hope that that move can build up enough before Whitney's Miltank even comes out that we're able to just one-shot it. Because we're slow, we do have to worry about the stomp strats obviously, because it's not guaranteed that we'll actually be able to hit if we get flinched there, and that could just completely ruin the strategy. But I do think that the rollout strat is going to be the best or most consistent way to progress in this challenge. But first things first, let's just get into Whitney's gym and try her one time and just see. Maybe we don't even need a moveset change to actually get through this one. Whitney is going to lead off, of course, with her Clefairy, so let's just see if we do a couple defense curls here, for example, because they are using physical moves. This might be a situation where that actually allows us to just heal up more than what they can actually deal to us. So now I'm just going to headbutt this Clefairy. We are faster, and we do manage to knock it out in 2 headbutts. That brings out Miltank, which starts the rollout, but headbutt's doing pretty good damage, and we get a crit and a rollout miss and another crit. So we get through Whitney on the first attempt super easily as we get to level 17. And now she's going to try to avoid giving us the badge, but we know we deserve it. Plus, that's going to boost our same type normal moves. So getting through Whitney is actually a really big deal for a Pokemon like Snorlax. And with that done, we're ready to move on to good old Morty, where maybe Mud Slap is enough, maybe rollout is required. I'm honestly not sure without testing it. For now, we're just going to get up there and see if this works out. It all starts though with the Kimono Girls, against whom we can just use Headbutt, and it's basically going to 2-shot or 3-shot these Pokemon. And with the Kimono Girls completely destroyed, we'll get access to the Surf HM. It's time to go try our first shot at rival number 3. Since this is Pokemon Crystal, rival 3 is required. I believe you can skip him in Gold and Silver, but in this one, Morty will not go back to his gym until we have defeated the rival. And this could actually be a problem, given the fact that that first Haunter is going to outspeed us. We have no way to use like a Quick Claw or something to get a speed advantage here, so we just have to deal enough damage. With Curse on, this could be tough. So rival 3 attempt number 1, I'm gonna go for the Mud Slap here, and it does not even KO this Haunter on that turn. Now it just goes Spite because it can't do anything else against us. We're gonna stick with Mud Slap on Magnemite to also find that this is a 2-hit KO. We do still manage to knock that one out, but we're on lower health than I'd like as we get to the Zubat. It confuses us. Headbutt does 1-shot, so we are gonna regain some HP. Now Bayleaf tried to go Poison Powder on us. It goes Razor Leaf this time, and we hit ourselves in Confusion though, and that's all she wrote for that one. If we hit ourselves in Confusion even once, this fight is over. So let's try this one again, hoping to get some better ranges on this. This time we get a critical hit, so we knock out that first Haunter much more quickly. Sonic Boom misses from Magnemite, which is perfect. Back to Zubat here. Let's hope we again just get the 1-hit KO, though we do get confused and hit ourselves. And then it bites to flinch us, and we can see just how bad it is to be a slow Pokemon here. We might need to go down to the Lighthouse just to gain a couple levels here. We're currently 4 points in speed slow slower than that Zubat. Now, if I recall correctly, we will only gain 1 level by going down south, but that may just be the best that we can do. This is the part of the game where the slow level up group does really start to catch up with this Snorlax. The fact that it's just not getting as many levels as a lot of other Pokemon would, and that's going to affect us through the Chuck Gym, the Jasmine Gym, other places where we would normally think that, a pretty strong Pokemon would be able to find a way through, but here we just don't quite get the ranges because of the fact that we have fewer levels. Level does calculate into damage calculations. And sure enough, as we reach Jasmine, we've only made it to level 29, and we've only gained 1 point in speed, so we're still just going to be outsped by everything. Yes, we can grab like a rare candy here, but that's basically it. And there's nothing to fight over towards the Lake of Rage, so we're just kind of stuck here if we're staying on minimum battles at this point, that we have to get through the rival at this current level. Now, it is possible to learn an elemental punch here if we're really struggling, but I'm honestly not sure with our lower special attack if that's going to be a good way to go. First up though, we've got the Haunter, which still takes 2 hits after it uses Curse on us in order to actually knock that one out. Back to Magneton, which is still a 2-hitter as well, and this time it hits Sonic Boom, so that's pretty bad. The Zubat goes Bite, but we do get the 1-hitter this time at least. We get a level up and learn Belly Drum, which honestly could be a really good move on this Pokemon, effectively allowing us to, set up all of the attack boosts. So honestly, it might be worth forgetting a different move here. For this one, I'm actually going to forget Mud Slap in order to learn Belly Drum, just because we can basically swap out Headbutt for a bunch of different moves, including elemental punches or rollout or many different things. So I think this is the best way to go, but let's just see. As we get to the Bayleaf, it goes Razor Leaf turn 1. We get a nice hit with our Headbutt though, making this a 2-hit KO. So we do finally get through at level 21 there, and that's going to allow us to free the legendary beasts and now move on towards Morty, where obviously we can't just stick with the current move. We're going to need to put on something like Rollout here in order to actually get through all of these Pokemon, but I think that's fine. We can just set up Defense Curl Rollout, maybe go for Belly Drum if we need to, and sweep through Pokemon as long as they don't put us to sleep. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that might be the actual killer here. First up though, we have a bunch of Ghastlies. I'm just going to start trying to roll out on them because they can't really do much to us, and if we just one-shot everything, then we shouldn't actually have any worries about that curse, and we're just regaining HP from the leftovers, so this should be fine, I think. And sure enough, we get through that first trainer with no issues. Still, let's get a little heal on before we take on the second trainer here. I don't expect any of these randos to be that hard though. They don't have good moves to actually damage a normal type Pokemon, so it's just about hitting the rollouts. And provided that we hit everything, we get through with no issues. It was super easy. Now it's time for Morty though, and this might be where that Belly Drum is actually really important because it may guarantee the 1-hit KO on the Gengar. Let's get into this. Now before I go into Belly Drum, I'm gonna just try to go Defense Curl into Rollout just to see maybe that's enough. Here we get Mean Look after we get cursed by the Ghastly, but we just knock it out on the next turn. Hunter comes out and puts us to sleep. And clearly that's what we didn't want to see. We don't have any sleep talk, rest strats going on here. So we get on very low health, and we even get put back to sleep when we wake up because we couldn't hit rollouts. So that first attempt is a fail. Let's try this one again. And this is kind of the issue. Normally you would want to have something like a Quick Claw here, maybe to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage against these Pokemon, or to put on the Mint Berry so that you can afford one less miss from the hypnosis. But when you can't even dodge a single sleep, you're basically getting wrecked when you have Curse on. Curse plus sleep has to be the Achilles heel of this Pokemon when we're talking about solo challenges. Obviously, it didn't have to worry about that as much in competitive because you could just swap Pokemon out. Here we finally get a Hypnosis miss in this attempt, so we get our first shot at Gengar, only for Gengar to actually hit us as well and start going into the Dream Eater. And if we don't wake up, we're just getting wrecked right here. So that's that's where belly drum could be important, because if we do get put to sleep but then immediately wake up, we might be able to use that belly drum in order to guarantee that we actually get a KO there. It also helps if we wake up from hypnosis on the Haunter, because Haunter as well can just break up our rollout by putting us to sleep. It's kind of a niche situation though, like really if we get put to sleep, we're probably losing no matter what. Only if we get really good luck to immediately wake up will we actually get any sort of advantage. Here we get a nice hypnosis miss though, so we knock that one out. Gengar does hit the hypnosis though, and we're gonna have to wake up immediately, and we simply do not. Back to Gengar again on the next attempt. This time it does miss hypnosis, so we do one shot there. That brings out the Haunter finally, and we do hit the rollout. This final Haunter actually can't damage us. It can only go Mimic or Mean Look basically here. So we do finally manage to get through Morty, but that is not a pretty fight with this Snorlax. Still, we are able to progress in the game, so I guess let's just move on and see how we do. I'm going to start off with the Rocket hideout because I think this is our best shot of actually progressing. I think our slow level up Pokemon is going to need more levels to actually progress in the game. I'm going to try to stick with just the rollout strat though for now, because I think with Belly Drum we can make it work. Now it takes one reset in order to catch the Gyarados there, but really that's not too bad. We're just going to come here and talk to Lancey Boy now. He's going to run back to the Rocket hideout. I can't help but think that he might be using them to test us out here, maybe trying to scout out the competition a little bit before we actually get to the league. But for now, we're just going to get into the hideout and hopefully we can just destroy everything. Now, even here against Jed, with the setup of Belly Drum, it turns these Magnemites into 2-hit KOs with rollout, even if we get a miss. And once we get built up, of course, we're just going to one-shot against those Pokemon. So it doesn't matter that the move is resisted. If we're able to set up Belly Drum effectively, we can end up in situations where we pretty easily knock some Pokemon out in spite of that type resistance. So I'm not sure that we're going to have to go Fire Punch in the next section. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now at this point, we are taking little enough damage, considering we are a max DV Snorlax, that we generally are staying pinned at full HP, though some Pokemon like Raticate with that Hyper Fang are putting a little bit of a dent in that. Still, together with the Defense Curl, rollout is more than enough to get through all the trainers down here, so we just have to take on the final Rocket Executive. She will of course lead off with the Arbok right here. I'm going to just take this opportunity to set up a Belly Drum. Let's get all the power that we can into our move and now go into the rollout, which does not quite one-shot against Arbok. We'd still take it down though. That brings out Gloom. We outspeed in just one shot there. And now Murkrow goes Haze, but we just go roll out and completely destroy it. So we get to level 28. Not bad getting through this section on minimum battles. Honestly, Morty and Bugsy were the hardest trainers so far. Now to stay on minimum battles, I'm going to use Gyarados to destroy these random electrodes here, just because I want to avoid getting any extra experience that I don't need on that Snorlax. Plus, this Pokemon can actually tank a self-destruct if we get a couple of them from these Pokemon. But with that done, it's time to just put Chubby Bear back in the top slot, and I think I'm going to go take on Pryce first. Obviously, we've got the rollout. It's going to be at least neutrally effective against everything here, and we may have a chance of actually getting through with the Belly Drum. So Pryce attempt number 1. Let's see how this goes. He's going to lead off with Seal, of course. I think the strategy is to go Defense Curl first, then let's Belly Drum, understanding that we can basically heal up all the damage from this Pokemon, and then we just one-shot it. Dugong comes out next and goes Aurora Beam. We go Rollout, getting the easy one-hit KO. Piloswine is out last. It goes Fury Attack, and once again gets one shot. As we get to level 29, we even get to learn Headbutt here. We're going to skip that move for now. We don't need to learn that since it's a TM anyway, and I'm not sure it's going to be the play in the next couple gyms, honestly. For now, though, we have managed to make it through, and I think it's time to go back to Jasmine. I think she's actually going to be the next easiest trainer. in spite of the fact that she has this Steelix that resists what is currently our only damage dealing move. What I do want to do though is go back to Goldenrod for a minute because I want to get access to more TMs, specifically the elemental punches. So now that I have the elemental punches in the bag, I think we have everything that we actually need to get through the next two gyms. It's just going to be a question of how tough it actually is to get the job done. Obviously, Fire Punch could be the strat when we're dealing with Jasmine, and Thunder Punch could be a strat when it comes to dealing with Chuck. For now though, I just kind of want to see what the range looks like when we get into the Chuck's gym, especially against the Black Belt bros. So let's just see how this actually goes. So first things first, I'm going to set up Defense Curl here. Jump Kick did massive damage. Then we get Double Kicked, which also does massive damage, and it does not look like we're healing enough here. We start to set up the rollout, but it is nowhere near getting through that Hitmonlee. Let's try a slightly different strategy though. Let's just go for one Defense Curl. We even get a miss from the first Jump Kick. That is huge. Now let's start setting up our rollout. And in this case, we do manage to build up and survive long enough to knock out the Hitmonlee. That brings out the Hitmonchan, of course, where mostly it's going to go for elemental punches. So I think we set up Amnesia first and now go into the Defense Curls in order to reduce the power of Comet Punch. Fire Punch obviously isn't going to do that much, nor will Ice Punch do much here. And obviously Freeze isn't permanent in this generation. So I'm just going to set up all of the defense buffs first. And once we've got all of the Amnesia and Defense Curl set up, now we can go into the rollout. And sure, we get burned, but that might not actually matter as long as we build up enough. Unfortunately, the burn did eventually take us down though. Still, I think we have a blueprint of how to win here. Though obviously critical hits will have a big impact. It might have been that single miss from Jump Kick was kind of huge. And in fact, it appears that miss was the key. So that was our best shot of getting through this, and it's simply not working. So that makes me think that the only real strategy left to us is to learn Headbutt. I'm going to learn that over Defense Curl. Since Defense Curl is a TM and can be relearned, I think this is our best play. Obviously, Headbutt is significantly stronger than Rollout here because of the same type attack bonus. We just one-shot there against the Hitmonlee. It's probably going to be pretty similar here against Hitmonchan. Here I went Rollout by mistake though, and that caused me to lose that fight. Next attempt though, we once again one-shot against the Hitmonlee, and when we actually go Headbutt here, this is an easy two-hitter on Hitmonchan, allowing us to get the victory. Still, that's not very inspiring for this gym, so I'm kind of nervous, but I'm still going to try to take on these other traders at this point just because, hey, we could get some extra XP before we have to go back and try our hand against Jasmine. And we are actually getting to a high enough level where sometimes we outspeed slower Pokemon, or like we're in a speed tie with these Mankeys, so we can knock them out pretty easily as long as we manage to land a hit first. And Primeape can do things like Fury Swipes that aren't actually that scary, so we've made it to Chucky Boy. I'm going to try him one time as we are, just to see, because who knows, maybe, just maybe we find a way through this one. So Chuck attempt number one, I'm going to go for the Headbutt as he just goes Fury Swipes with Primeape. We get a crit, so we do one shot there. That brings out the Poliwrath, which goes Mind Reader, and then goes Hypnosis on us. We would love to have access to something like a Mint Berry here, but fortunately we wake up and he misses enough time, so we beat Chuck on the first attempt. Clearly Chuck is back to punting. I mean, he's basically the Lieutenant Surge of this generation. Like, he just loves to lose easily winnable fights, but hey, we'll take it when we're running a Snorlax here. And with that, it's time to just go back to Olivine, deliver the secret potion, and make our way to Jasmine, where we might have to replace Headbutt with Fire Punch here, but honestly, this shouldn't be too bad to get through. So it's time to go to the gym. I'm going to go in once with my moveset as is just to kind of see, but I'm pretty sure Fire Punch is going to be the play. So So first up, we do have the Magnemite here. I'm going to go for the Belly Drum first. It misses the Thunder Wave and now Headbutt one-shots that Pokemon. We are going to outspeed the next Magnemite and it's another one-hit KO. That brings out Steelix, where I'm going to go Headbutt. We did about a third here and we get the flinch. Wait just a second. Iron Tail might not matter. She goes for the Hyper Potion, but we're just headbutting this Pokemon down. She tries to Screech. Not enough. We win against Jasmine on the first attempt thanks to the Belly Drum headbutt strats. That was not even hard. That was easy. Are you kidding me? Clearly, this Pokemon's just far too powerful for Johto. I thought that we weren't going to be healing up enough HP with the leftovers, but it's looking like we're just kind of cruising here. So let's just see if the headbutt strats continue to be OP as we get into the Rocket storyline here. I will make sure to actually heal up here though, because who knows, we might run into some poison or something and actually have some trouble. So without much difficulty, we do make it to the top of the first part of the tower. We have to now take on the first executive, who does have a ton of self-destructing Pokemon. So I think the best strategy is to Belly Drum here and then go into the rollout. He smoke screens, which is actually a really good strategy against us. And now when we miss, we are going to be taking some damage here. And we also didn't manage to one-shot against a Coughing when we missed after the Belly Drum even. So honestly, our big issue there was that smoke screen. Let's try this one again. This time we're getting much better luck with the rollout though. So even though we gotten one smoke screen, we're managing to just hit over and over again. We finally make it to the last Coughing, which is going to try to poison us here. And we did get another accuracy drop, but if we just hit 2 rollouts, we will win, even if they're not powered up. Sure enough, we get it on the second attempt as we defeat that executive. So with that done, we're ready to go to the basement and rival number 4. Let's see how this guy goes. Given that he doesn't lead off with the Haunter, but we're definitely going to need to be doing enough damage to sweep through the entire team if we're actually going to get this to go. Because with Curse on, I don't think we have much time to set up. Still, let's just test this out. So of course, he's going to lead off with Golbat. I'm going to take the opportunity to set up at least one Amnesia here before going for the Belly Drum. And now I'm going to go into my rollout spam. Obviously, we destroy Golbat very easily. Magnemite comes out next, but gets completely destroyed. Haunter now curses us, but if we actually just manage to hit these powered up rollouts, we should have a chance here. Sneasel never stood a chance, and Meganium goes Poison Powder, but gets completely crushed by the rollout. So that was the strategy. The Belly Drum into rollout basically just guarantees that we one-shot every Pokemon as long as we actually hit all of our rollouts there. And with Rival 4 out of the way, we can just make our way through the rest of the randos down here, and then it's going to be on to the top of the second part of the radio tower. Now I'm going to skip Snore in this one because I just don't expect to use it. Rest, on the other hand, could be useful, but I'm going to skip this one too because it's going to be a TM anyway in this next section. Rest Sleep Talk strats could be a strat in the late game, but I'm going to avoid that as much as I can, just because Rest plus Sleep Talk is honestly a pretty broken combination in this generation, at least in my personal opinion. And without too much difficulty, we've made it to the final executive, so let's just get into this fight, and I think rollout is gonna do the job. So here, honestly, I think Belly Drum just makes too much sense. And then we just start the rollout. We one-shot against Houndour. Out comes the Coughing, which also gets wrecked. Houndoom now goes Ember. Good job. We just completely destroy that Pokemon on the first attempt. Never had any issues taking on these Rockets. Now we can get access to at least the radio card. I would normally get the Pink Bow here, but we can't use it. So it's one of those situations where if we ever did need a Pink Bow to get a better range, it's just not an option in this challenge. But with the radio card procured, now it's time to make our way over to Claire, where, I mean, Ice Punch or something could be a strat, but honestly the belly drum into rollout might just be enough here. Now while I don't plan to use it immediately, I will make sure to get rest here just in case, since it could be a strat later in the game if we run into any major trouble. But basically that and the PP up are the only things I'm actually going to get in this section. And with that, we've made it to Blackthorn. It's time to go take on Claire. I'm going to try with the headbutt and rollout strategies and just see if this is enough. We could always go back and get defense curl if we need to in order to go defense curl rollout, but I think these two moves with the belly drum and amnesia will get the job done here. Now the biggest issue that we could have here against Claire is that she loves to use Thunder Wave with her Dragonairs, and we may not have a solution for that, so we're just going to have to get into this and see if we can get it to work. So I'm going to lead off with a belly drum here, just knowing that we're very likely to get paralyzed and need to set up new moves. After the belly drum, we just one-shot with headbutt against the first Dragonair. We get paralyzed by the second Dragonair, but we knock it out after that and get to level 41. That brings out the third Dragonair, which just goes slam against us. Once we finally land a headbutt, it's a one-hit KO. Finally, we've got the Kingdra. It goes Surf. We're fully paralyzed the first turn. We hit headbutt the next turn though and get the one-shot. So belly drum plus headbutt is enough to get you through Claire, assuming you don't get terrible paralysis luck. It's not going to be perfectly consistent because obviously you could just be paralyzed a bunch of turns in a row, but it's good enough to get that one done, at least in this run on the first attempt. So Leftover Snorlax is definitely proving why it is such a beast in this generation, and with 8 gyms completed at this point, it's time to make our way to Rival 5 in the league. And now as we make our way to the league, we can get access to a bunch of TMs that we would need, but really it's just about getting Earthquake here, I think, and then hoping that we have enough with the elemental punches and headbutt to actually get through all of these opponents. I think it is worth going in with some extra TMs just to make sure that we have all the moves that we need. Now, of course, the big issue with learning Earthquake right away here is that it cannot affect any of Lance's Pokemon. So I think we actually hold off on Earthquake until we get to Kanto. Reminds me of something. I was watching a Pokemon YouTuber earlier today, and like, I'm an American, so I totally understand that people don't necessarily know how to pronounce Japanese words, but it is really, really cringe when people say Kanto. It's Kanto. That is how you pronounce in Japanese, Kanto. Japanese doesn't have ka as a sound. It's ka kiku keiko. There's only 5 vowel sounds in Japanese. A, I, U, A, O. So when you say Kanto like an American, you just sound ridiculous. I'm just saying. Kanto, guys. Kanto. I had somebody accuse me of being like AI generated because I said Kanto instead of Kanto, and they were like, he pronounces it incorrectly. It's like, no, dude, I've lived in Japan for 10 years. I know how to pronounce actual Japanese words. And Kanto is an actual region of Japan. It incorporates the Tokyo Greater Metro Area, Chiba Prefecture, Kanagawa Prefecture, which is where my, in-laws are, Ibaraki and Gunma and Saitama. That's Kanto. And that's what the entire region is originally based on, whereas Johto is based on more my neck of the woods. You're getting out there towards Osaka, Kyoto. They get over to Tokushima. That's basically where Chuck lives. I'm just saying, guys. Anyway, we have made it to rival number 5, and he does say Kanto, which is why he irritates me so much. Let's see if we can beat him on the first attempt. He's going to lead off with the Sneasel. I'm going to go for the belly drum right here as he misses the Screech. And now let's go for the rollout spam, hoping that we just sweep through the entire team. He wing attacks with Golbat, and we do get a miss here, but we knock it out on the next turn, fortunately. Magneton comes out and goes Sonic Boom. This is going to be a 2-hitter on this one. Still, we do take it down. We get cursed by the Haunter, but one-shot it after that. Kadabra goes for Future Sight. Not really a big issue for us. That brings out the Meganium, where I think we go Headbutt right here. And sure enough, Headbutt with the full power simply knocks that Pokemon out. So we're going to tell that guy, we'll see you again in Kanto, not Kanto. You say Kanto, and I'm never going to allow you to even have a chance in any of our battles, buddy. But here, quickly, before we make our way through to the next section, let's just go and get things like the Defense Curl TM, just to make sure that we have them, we're ready to go, and that we can completely crush this next section of the game. I'm pretty sure we do just fine against Will. Koga shouldn't be too bad either. Bruno, I'm kind of nervous about, but who knows? Maybe it's just fine. Then we've got Karen and we've got Lance. I think that if we just build up the rollout enough, though, we will get through those trainers without any major issues. Let's just see if that's actually the case, though. We also do have access to return at this point, and I've mentioned it before, but in the minimum battles series, I'm basically going to start allowing return in this section of the game and not call it a broken or OPTM. But at the same time, I don't want to just spam return unnecessarily. I'd much rather save that for a situation where it's actually needed. And especially in this one where the King's Rock is not an option, we can only flinch with headbutt. That is our only strategy that can go for flinches. So I think we have to at least be kind of careful about learning return in this one, because we could be giving up a lot of advantage in some key spots. But here I'm just going to get all the full restores. Let's get into the league and see if we can manage to win without using rare candies. First up, we've got Willy Boy. So in this one, I'm going to lead off with the belly drum. We get a psychic that did pretty good damage. But now let's just see what the rollout does. Obviously, we destroyed the Xatu. We could learn Body Slam via level up, and this is a spot where I think it is worth learning it over a headbutt. It's just a little bit stronger, but also has the paralysis chance. That brings out Jinx next. She goes for Lovely Kiss. Obviously not what we wanted to see, but then Double Slap didn't do that much. Still, I think we're going to have to set up Amnesia in this one to actually get through. We do manage to knock out Jinx though. That brings out Exeggutor and it simply ends us. So let's try this one again with the Amnesia strats first. So I'm going to set up all 3 Amnesias just to make sure that I have as much special defense as possible so that hopefully the leftovers just take care of the rest for us. Of course, if we're confused and hitting ourselves in confusion, we're going to do really good damage to ourselves though. So we have to be kind of careful here. Let's just see what Headbutt does here. It is a 2-hit KO on the Xatu. Now we can upgrade that to Body Slam even. And maybe now is the time to try to go for Belly Drum. Like, she's going to put us to sleep, but Double Slap's not going to do much. Psychic's going to not do much after we've set up all of the Amnesias. So at this point, we just need to wake up and Belly Drum, and then I think we can start getting set up here to actually sweep through the rest of the team with the rollout. Here, rollout one-shots Jinx, of course. That brings out Exeggutor. We outspeed. This time, we're in a speed tie there, but we managed to just one-shot that Pokemon. Slowbro, we miss with the rollout, and it goes Curse. So I'm going to go Body Slam here. We get the one-hitter just off of the Body Slam, and that brings out Xatu. Going for the quick attack. Never had a chance. So once you set up all of the Amnesias, that's actually an incredibly easy fight. It's just a matter of getting that set up. And now I'm simply going to heal up, and let's go ahead and get into the Koga fight. Now in this one, I think it's just a matter of Belly Drum, and then let's go into the rollout once again. We one-shot Ariados there. Venomoth comes out next. It tries to go Supersonic and just gets wrecked. That brings out Fortress, and the rollout just one-shots at that point. We one-shot the Muck as well. So let's see if Crobat is a one-hitter. It goes for the double team, of course. Now for Wing Attack, but we're just going to Body Slam and get the easy one-hit KO. So Koga never stood a chance there, but now we could have a potential problem against Bruno. We might need to learn Defense Curl here from TM40, and who knows, we might even need to forget Rollout because Body Slam is gonna be the play here. The question is just, can we manage to survive all of these fighting type moves? So Bruno, attempt number 1, and here he does dig underground, which makes me think maybe Belly Drum is the play. Here, Body Slam, of course, destroys Hitmontop when it does come back above the ground. We get a high jump kick miss from Hitmonlee, very lucky. Now we get Mach Punched by the Hitmonchan, but we do survive and knock it out. That brings out Machamp, which misses Cross Chop. Are you kidding me? So now we've made it to the final Onyx. It goes Earthquake. We go Body Slam and get the one-hit KO. Bruno just punts. Oh my goodness. I mean, he doesn't really punt. He's just that bad. He clearly cannot use 100% accurate moves. That is the way that they made Bruno bad in Gen 2. We didn't even heal going into that, and we still managed to win. How is that possible? Hey, I will take it as we come now into the Karen fight. So Karen attempt number 1. I think we go for Belly Drum here. We do get confused turn 1, and we hit ourselves in confusion. Now we're getting sand attacked. But this from here on out should just be a matter of actually landing hits and not hitting ourselves in confusion after we've used the Belly Drum, because obviously that's going to be bad. So let's try this one again. Here we get sand attacked turn 1, which I think is perfectly fine. I'm actually going to try to just Body Slam now, and we just cannot land a single hit. This is where a Bitter Berry would be amazing. Once we land Body Slam, it's an easy one-hit KO on the Umbreon. Out comes Vileplume. We're actually faster, and we just one-shot that Pokemon. Gengar is out next. We're going to go for Rollout on this one. That's the only move that can actually hit. That brings out Murkrow. It goes for Feint Attack. We just roll out to destroy that Pokemon. And Houndoom now goes Flamethrower. We survive only to miss the rollout. Otherwise, this is a guaranteed victory. We might want to set up Amnesia just to take less damage from some of these opponents, but honestly, it's not that bad. So I'm going to set up the Amnesias here because we got Sand Attacked and Confused turn 1, but that basically guarantees that things like Feint Attack aren't actually going to do much damage to us. So the real risk is hitting ourselves in confusion. Now when we actually do manage to snap out, we can start using Rollout and just destroy Umbreon in 2 hits this time. We miss against the Vileplume, but Body Slam hits the next turn, so that's all we needed there. Now it's back to Rollout on the Gengar since it's the only move that can actually hit here. And we get destroyed by the curse after we couldn't hit a single move. So once again, I'm just going to set up all the Amnesias here. That will help us survive against everything. And now we just need to actually hit our attacks against these opponents. We get the Body Slam on Umbreon, which is very nice. Back to Vileplume, we hit the Body Slam yet again. Very, very good. Gengar, we just have to land Rollout once on this Pokemon. That does knock it out. Murkrow's out next. It goes for Quick Attack. We miss with the Rollout, but that's fine. We're going to switch into Body Slam now. And if Body Slam actually could hit, we would win. It's just, you know, you get 1 accuracy drop, and that's basically the end of the run right there. This time we get 3 accuracy drops even as we're setting up there. We still managed to knock out Vileplume though, but it all comes down to this Gengar because Gengar loves to go Destiny Bond after Curse. So if you don't knock it out, you basically can lose right there. Murkrow, we actually hit Rollout on this time. We're still on half health going to Houndoom, and Flamethrower is not going to do much. Pursuit's not going to do much. We don't want to see Roar. We don't want it to like force us to swap Pokemon, and we want to actually hit a move before the curse knocks us out, but that's literally it. We had plenty of shots there to actually knock that Pokemon out. It's just a matter of luck here because of the sand attacks that we're basically always getting from Umbreon. Fewer sand attacks this time as we get to Murkrow, but yet again, we're just going to switch to Body Slam when we actually miss the rollout since Body Slam is more accurate here. We're back to the Houndoom, and finally this time we hit with the Body Slam, allowing us to get the victory. Really isn't bad to get through there. It's just about the accuracy drops, which there's simply nothing that we can do about. We just have to take the fact that our accuracy is gonna get lowered there. But with that, it's now time to get to Lance. Let's see if the rollout is enough here. Do we have to go belly drum rollout? Do we belly drum into headbutt? Like, I'm not sure. Let's find out. So first up, I'm going to go Amnesia here because I know that Gyarados is going to want to go for some special moves. We're also looking at Hyper Beams here, but those give us extra turns to heal up. So I think that we're fine with the Hyper Beam. Now we just have to hope that we can actually build everything up though. We may want to replace like Body Slam with Defense Curl here, and that might be the strat. Just because if we can survive all the Hyper Beams, we're basically good to go, and we can always go return at the end of the day. So I think that is the strategy here. I'm simply going to replace Body Slam with Defense Curl. Let's set up all the Amnesias and Defense Curls first, and then go for the rollout strat. So we'll lead off with Amnesia since we know that Gyarados is likely to go for Surf after the Rain Dance. Then I'm going to switch into using some defense curls here just to discourage the Hyper Beams. We'll once again set up Amnesia here as the rain fades, and we can see that we're basically getting back to full health on this Gyarados. It can't really do anything too scary to us. And with everything set up, now I will set up the Belly Drum in order to boost my attack stat, and we're ready to go into rollout, which one-shots against the first Gyarados. Dragonite number 1 comes out, it goes Thunder Wave, which is decent strategy, but we still managed to knock it out. Dragonite number 2 comes out and goes Twister, which did like 6 damage, so we just knock it out the next turn. Aerodactyl now going Wing Attack, doesn't matter, easy victory. Charizard now goes for the Slash, but never stood a chance against rollout, and that brings out the final Dragonite. It goes Outrage, we go rollout, easy victory. Body Slam not required. That was just ridiculous. I mean, the Belly Drum strats with this Snorlax are just completely OP. Add in Amnesia and Defense Curl to just boost all of your defenses super duper high. I don't think we have to learn a new move through the rest of this. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to just crush everything. That's my prediction anyway. Let's see if it actually works out in the Kanto section when we get to Red. So Chubby Bear has done it at level 48. It defeated the Pokemon League on minimum battles, but now we have to run around here for a minute. We're going to get the SS ticket, of course, and we will make our way to get all of the rare candies, etc. that are in this section of the game. I'm also going to use my Gyarados in order to just defeat all of the Sprout Tower just to get access to the Flash HM, just because, yet again, still not a full-time Poketuber, so I have not yet remembered all of the routes through the Dark Caves, but I promise you that if I ever do become a full-time Poketuber, that's the first thing that I'm going to do. But with that, we have made it to Kanto properly. We're going to go straight to the Trash Man here. I don't think we have to fear Lieutenant Surge at all, especially because once we set up all our defenses, even if he does manage to paralyze me, I just don't think it actually matters. So let's just get into this and find out. But of course, we're at the point of the game finally where most Pokemon could get access to leftovers. So at this point, what we're doing is actually legitimate. Still, it's going to be a question if it's actually going to be a good strategy to beat the entire game with, or is there ever a spot where, like, we would want to paralyze Curaberry here instead? For now, I'm just going to simply take advantage of the fact that I can just boost my defenses to obscene levels, so that even if I am paralyzed, I should be able to just destroy everything. That's my logic anyway. Let's see if it works. So now we'll simply Belly Drum after this, and I think our defenses are strong enough that outside of critical hits, we don't really have anything to worry about. Raichu goes down in a single hit. Electrode's trying to double team because it knows that it's about to get wrecked. That brings out the Magneton, which is also double teaming because it knows it's about to get wrecked. Electrode number 2, still double teaming, still getting wrecked here. And that brings out finally the Electabuzz that goes for the light screen. Good job. We simply destroy it in a single hit. So in spite of getting paralyzed, Lieutenant Surge just never stood a chance against us. And honestly, I think this is a run where we just want to save the rare candies until at the very earliest blue, but honestly red, because we're in that slow level up group. There's just really no advantage to using rare candies before we get to the very end of the game. And I'm pretty sure we're strong enough to get through everything anyway. So let's just go ahead and take our shot at Sabrina, and let's just see if the rollout strats work just as well here. Sabrina attempt number 1, I'm going to go for Amnesia first, of course, because we know she's going to have really good special. We are getting sand attacked a lot, which is a little bit scary, but now I think we can just go for the Belly Drum, and I don't think their physical attacks are going to do enough to us to really be scary, as long as we can actually land some hits. Still, we did not one-shot here with the rollout. It takes 2 hits to knock out that first Pokemon, and now Mr. Mime is barriering. We still knock it out in a single hit though. Now we've got Reflect from Alakazam, and it critical hits us with the Psychic. A non-crit Psychic doesn't do that much though, so we just need to hit a couple of rollouts and it looks like we will win. Sure enough, we do with 13 HP remaining in spite of the critical hit Psychic. We beat Sabrina on the first attempt, and that was with me still paralyzed from the previous battle. That is ridiculous. Oh, this Snorlax is a problem. And while we could go get Curse, I'm honestly not thinking we need it. I mean, we've already got the Defense Curl. We've got the Belly Drum. Like, I guess I'll grab Curse just in case, but I don't see a situation where I'm actually going to want to use this. For now, let's just make our way over to Erica, which should be another really easy fight, I think, but let's find out if that actually works out the way I think it will. Sure enough, we get through all the randos in the gym perfectly fine, so it's time to take on Erica herself, where I don't think we're going to really have any major issues. Let's set up Amnesia just to be safe against their special moves, but now like Giga Drain's doing basically nothing. Yes, we can get stuck in bind, but it's not really a problem. Unless, of course, we start getting critical hits, in which case we can start to take major damage, but the odds of getting enough critical hits in a row to KO us from this Tangela are basically next to nothing. So now I'm just going to Belly Drum in order to maximize my attack output. Let's go into the rollout. We one-shot Tangela. Jump Bluff comes out and goes Giga Drain. Good job. We simply destroy it in a single hit as we get to level 51. Now we get Victory Bell dropping Acid, but it never stood a chance. And Blossom gets the rollout and gets wrecked. So Erica, not a problem. Easy, easy, easy victory. And now we can move on in the game where I think it's time to go up and check in on Misty. But before that, let's go learn about this whole machine part thing. And with the machine part successfully delivered, we just have a bunch of randos to take on before we mess up Misty's date. And then I think she's going to be incredibly easy. But let's just check this out. Now, of course, we get paralyzed on the way up here, but it honestly just doesn't matter. We're so incredibly overpowered at this point between the leftovers and the fact that we've got the rollout strats that we're just destroying everything in basically a few hits. Even if we have to build up, it really doesn't matter. And with Misty's date successfully ruined, we're ready to now go back to her gym where I think we're going to have plenty of easy luck here getting through this. Once we get all of our defenses set up, I think she has no shot. Well, let's find out if that's actually the case. Misty, attempt number 1 right here as she leads off with Golduck. I'm going to go for Amnesia first, since she's very likely to use a lot of special attacks here. And this Golduck is just spamming Psych Up. It wants all of our stat boosts. So I'm just going to let it do that while I just set up everything right here. Because, I mean, if that's all it's going to do against me, that's perfectly fine by me. Now we'll even Belly Drum. Since this Pokemon has no physical moves, I don't think we're scared of Golduck at all. It goes for Surf and does nothing, and we knock it out in 2 hits. That brings out Quagsire, which does resist the move rollout, but it still goes down into single hit as we get to level 53. We destroy the Lapras in a single rollout. That brings out Starmie. It goes Confuse Ray, which is good strategy, but the rollout hits and we win. So yeah, Misty, she tried her best. She really did. She just never had a shot in this one. So now it's time to just go back and wake up the real overworld Sleepy Bear so that we can make our way to Brocky Boy. And honestly, I don't think we're going to have any issues in this Kanto section until at least Blue. Like, everything is so incredibly easy at this point. Now, I am going to open up Viridian City first, just so that I don't have to dodge this Beedrill trainer as many times. This is like the second most annoying trainer to me in the entire game. After the girl who's standing right outside of Tojo Falls, this is the guy that I hate the most, just trying to dodge, because he's just sitting there spinning around in circles like, somebody come and fight my Beedrills. And while I respect it, he's kind of just standing in the way of me and my minimum battles run. But we've made it to Brock's gym, so let's fight the Light Years Junior trainer and then take on Brocky Boy himself. Oh no, we get poisoned by the Sand Slash. Whatever will we do? I guess we just have to try to keep building up with our rollouts. The problem is we aren't doing that much damage, so I think we have to go Belly Drum into rollout here in order to deal enough damage, and we actually lose to the Light Years Junior trainer? Are you kidding me? That was bad. That was really bad. Let's go Defense Curl, Belly Drum, and roll out here. And of course, he's going to Sand Attack. Oh, the legend. But if we just hit 2 hits here from rollout, we will win. Sure enough, we do. So we get through on the second attempt. But man, Rando Trainer actually manages to beat Snorlax. Stop the presses, guys. But it is now Brocky Boy time. Let's see how he goes. Brock, attempt number 1. He's leading off with the Graveler. Obviously, most of his Pokemon are going to use physical moves here. I'm going to set up some Defense Curls. Let's get an Amnesia. Now let's Belly Drum. And yes, he's building up the rollout, but let's see what our rollout does. We actually lose because he just built up too much on us. Let's try this again. So it might be worth it to just go Defense Curl once, then go for the Belly Drum, and then just go into our own rollout. Because the whole issue there was just that we didn't have enough HP to survive his rollouts. But after that, we do knock that Pokemon out. Rhyhorn comes out next, and at this point when we miss the rollout, now I think we finish setting up the Defense Curls. Because this Pokemon does not know rollout, and we're not scared of Horn Drill, obviously. Earthquake, obviously, also isn't a big deal to us. We could go Earthquake ourselves, I just don't think we need to. I'm just going to set up the Amnesias here too, because why not? Let's just make sure that Surf can't beat me later. So now we'll go Rollout. It's going to be a 2-hitter on Rhyhorn, but we easily get through. That brings out Amistar next, who goes for Surf, but because of Amnesia, we don't care, getting the easy victory. And now we have Onix, who gets one shot, and that brings out Kabutops, and Rock does not resist Rock for some reason, so clearly we just win. Rocky Boy, never really an issue. We just have to not let that roll out on that first Pokemon build up so much. But with that, I'm going to fly back to Viridian, and let's make our way down to Pallet Town. We can go, just say what's up to Professor Oak with our chubby bear. He says, welcome to Kanto, and he's going to start sharing our intel with these other trainers. I mean, Blue here is going to go back to talk to Grandpa to figure out how to beat us. Red is already receiving word that we're in the area. So we're just going to go stunt on these last 2 gym leaders before we go back and start fighting these real bosses. And it all starts with Blaney Boy right here, whom I don't think we really need to fear, but let's just see how he actually goes. Of course, he leads off with his Magcargo. I'm going to go for the Belly Drum right away. Don't think we need to be scared of this Pokemon at all. Now we can just roll out and destroy it. Oh, it actually takes 2 hits. Oh, the curse actually affected things. Still, he sends out Magmar next. He goes for Sunny Day and just gets destroyed. And that brings out Rapidash, which, okay, he goes Fire Spin. Good job. Oh, what a brilliant strategy, Blaine. Clearly. And of course, this guy has to show up here after that. He's like, yeah, nobody saw you actually beat him. It's over already. That's right. It was way too easy. Way too easy to beat Blaney Boy. The reason why he's bad is because he doesn't have his Arcanine anymore from Gen 1. So now we can come over here and fight against Janine. And let's see if we just defeat the worst Kanto trainer nice and easy here. So first off, she leads off with the Crobat. I'm just going to go roll out here. It's going to take 2 hits to knock that one out, but still very, very easy. The first Weezing comes out and goes Toxic. I'm going to Belly Drum right here because I just want to make sure that I one-shot everything. So we do knock out the Weezing after that. Second Weezing comes out and also gets destroyed by the rollout. Ariados is out next. It's another easy victory. And now Venomoth goes double team because it knew what was coming, but it wasn't enough as we'd easily defeat Janine. Now we are poisoned, and this reminds me that we do need to talk about our sponsor in this video. It is the one and only Fuchsia Pokemarts. Did you know that 99.9% of all Pokemon players have never visited the Fuchsia Pokemart in their lives? In fact, of all of the locations in the history of the Pokemon franchise, the Fuchsia Pokemart has been visited the fewest number of times, which is why they agreed to pay me 50% of the value of all the items in my bag if I tell you guys that the Fuchsia Pokemart does in fact exist. So go to the Fuchsia Pokemart, tell them that Teo sent you, and they will give you a full heal after you have been poisoned by Toxic by either Koga or Janine, depending on your generation. So what are you waiting for? Get to the Fuchsia Pokemart, use code GSC Pokemon Challenges is better than RBY Pokemon Challenges in order to take advantage of this exclusive offer. And with that, let's go ahead and fight against Blue. So Blue attempt number 1, we're going to lead off with the Defense Girl right here. We're going to go hard on the Defense Girl. Pidgeot's going Defense Girl too, so, it's a mirror match, but we don't really care. We're just going to be able to set up everything right here, I think. And once we do, now we will switch into the Amnesia just to make sure that our special defense is super high too. And finally, it is Belly Drum time, and he does not mirror move Belly Drum, which is good. Now we can just roll out, and this is going to be an easy 2-hitter on this first Pokemon since it did set up a bunch of Defense Girls. That brings out Alakazam next. It hits Psychic, which does nothing, and we're able to just use Rollout to destroy that Pokemon. Rhydon comes out next. It goes Sandstorm, which actually will do chip damage, but based on a percentage of our health. So it is a really good strategy, and we missed the rollout, but still 2 rollouts is enough to get through that Pokemon. That brings us to the Gyarados, where it goes Twister, which does nothing, and we simply destroy it. Now we have Exeggutor still under the Sandstorm. It starts to take in Sunlight though, and that's not the strategy for taking us down. And finally Arcanine, the best Pokemon in the game, but we defeat it with 69 HP remaining. Chubby Bear coming in with the nicest level of HP at the end of that one, proving that blue never stood a chance. And with that, we have made it all the way to the end of the game. It's only red that stands in front of us on minimum battles, and it's because we bought that full heal at the Fuchsia Pokemart. Clearly, don't question it. It's Pokemon logic, guys. It's just as logical as the fact that Peck can hit a ghost when Tackle can't. So, you know, don't question me. So everything is perfectly fine here as we go to the end of this one. Snorlax is ready to finish its grand tour of just destroying everything in Kanto, as well as Johto. In fact, are we back in Johto now? I think we're back in Johto. Oh no, we're still in Kanto. What is this nonsense? We're clearly at least on the border. You know, like if we go too far one way, we might get deported. That's all I'm saying. Better have an adequate visa to be over here, over in this part of the Kanto region. If you're a Johtonian, you might just be kicked out. Just saying. Anyway, we are ready to get into this one. Once again, I will remember this path through here. If someday I become a full-time PokeTuber, that will be like an entire video learning how to navigate in the dark. But for now, we have made it, and I'm ready to just take on Red. I think this is going to be an easy victory, but let's just see. Let's go in without any rare candies first, just to try to stunt on him. And if we need them, we've got 10 rare candies in the bag. So Red attempt number 1. He leads off with the Pikachu, of course. I'm going to go for the Amnesia first, since I know this Pokemon likes to use Thunder. After we get all of those set up, now I'm going into the Defense Curls to once again just, you know, get all of the stat boosts. We get paralyzed. I don't think that's actually going to matter that much in this one, as we're just setting up all the defense curls right here. Once we've got all the defense, now we're going to belly drum, and I'm actually just going to waste some turns, but we get a critical hit Thunder. That's like the worst thing. I was going to waste turns to try to recover HP, but it probably doesn't actually matter. Anyway, let's go back into our Amnesias, since we know he's just going to go Thunder over and over again. And when he starts doing the quick attack, we'll just go into the defense curl, and we're just hoping that he like misses Thunder, or, you know, otherwise just allows us to heal up. Once we get to +6 on our defense, now we will use the belly drum. And now let's just roll out here. Pikachu never stood a chance. It gets wrecked. Espeon comes out and goes Psychic and did decent damage, and it even goes Reflect, which is a good strategy, but we still knock that Pokemon out. That brings out his Snorlax at level 75, but we go roll out and just destroy that Pokemon. We could learn Hyper Beam at this point. Do we learn Hyper Beam? What the heck? Let's learn Hyper Beam, because I think with all the belly drums, we can just start one-shotting Pokemon here. We get Sunny Day here. We're still using Rollout, even though we've forgotten the move, but we destroy that Venusaur. That brings out the Charizard. It goes for the Fire Spin, but now I'm going to go for the Hyper Beam. We get Flamethrower, which doesn't matter. Hyper Beam completely destroys that Pokemon, and that brings out the Blastoise, which is going Rain Dance. We have to recharge there, but Surf doesn't do enough, and just like that, no rare candies required. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. Oh, like Mewtwo was the Pokemon that completely destroyed Gen 1. It was just far too powerful for its original generation. But Snorlax, for some reason, with all of the tools that they give you in Gen 2, just becomes an unstoppable beast in Gen 2. That has got to be the single easiest full game run I have done on the channel so far. That was a lot of fun just to see. I mean, obviously Rollout we know is strong, but when you add in Defense Curl, Amnesia, Belly Drum, I mean, it just carries you so hard. And then when you get to the end and to learn Hyper Beam right there in the final battle, to be able to knock out the final Pokemon with the strongest normal type move, oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. That is like plot that we couldn't write even if we wanted to. Snorlax, absolute beast. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun doing it. Now that we've done the most powerful Pokemon in the generation, though, I will be working on the live stream for channel members on that Metal Powder Ditto. That one's going to take a long time, which is why I had to do a few easy ones in the interim. There will also be more episodes of the Minimum Battles series, so just stick around for that. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Share your comments down below. I've asked lots of questions in this one. I need answers, guys. And by the way, just a quick shout out, GSC Pokemon Challenge is actually going to be featured on RBY Pokemon Challenges, because that RBY guy had a challenge that he didn't know how to do, which is, you know, a Magneton with Steel typing in Gen 1. He didn't know the type effectivenesses. He had to call me in. So I went over there and did the run for him. And let me tell you, that one is a doozy. I'm going to, in fact, even have to go back and do a little bit more on that run, but we'll talk about that at a later date. Anyway, for now, appreciate you for being here. Thanks for watching to the end. Channel members, thank you for your monthly support. But with that, I hope you guys have a good one. I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much, guys.